I'm Mandi Lockley with the Academy of Astrology, and welcome to the wonderful world of Venus. When the planets of our solar system were named after the deities of the Roman pantheon, Venus stands out as the first and only planet to be named after a goddess. And because the astrological meanings of the planets are based on the qualities and stories of the gods the planets are named for, Venus is associated with the feminine. Venus in the birth chart speaks of our taste in art and beauty, in the finer things in life, in what pleases us, what we appreciate, what we value, and our idea of the feminine ideal. Unsurprisingly, Venus, and her Greek counterpart Aphrodite of course, has been the tireless subject of many great works of art. Here we see the origins of Venus. In the myth, Saturn castrated her tyrannical father Uranus. Saturn flung Uranus' testicles into the sea, and the blood and semen mixed with sea foam and created Venus. So Venus, associated in astrology primarily with peace, love, pleasure and harmony, was born of conflict and violence, and we will see how Venus's story, and subsequently astrological Venus, is wrapped up in war and discord for all the peace and harmony and beauty that she represents. But first, her birth as depicted in art. Venus arrives at the seashore nude and beautiful, a fully grown, sexually mature adult. Her hair is long and free-flowing in its natural state. The fashion for the women at the time this painting was produced was to wear their hair braided, tied up, crammed into elaborate headdresses. Married women in particular covered their hair. Even they wore a veil. So Venus's free hair here symbolises her unmarried status, her sexual availability, an invitation to be admired. A popular subject in painting and sculpture, it was socially acceptable to depict Venus unclothed, her figure soft and feminine with a hint of eroticism. Notice here that while she covers herself, her breasts are still obvious, you can still see them. The woman attending to Venus is dressed and wears her hair tied back. She offers Venus a beautiful cloak to make her pleasingly acceptable to society. A reflection of how astrological Venus is about how we make ourselves socially attractive. Notice the angelic intertwined lovers, a foreshadowing Venus's status as the goddess of love and her affair with Mars, the god of war. Symbolic of the close relationship between war and peace and male and female energies shown in our birth charts by the relationship between Mars and Venus. Here, Venus is revelling in her nudity. She looks asleep, but on close inspection, her eyes are a little open, gazing provocatively at the viewer, a hint of the femme fatale, another aspect of astrological Venus. Venus's arrival is being celebrated by Cupids. Cupid was the god of desire, erotic love and attraction, all aspects of Venus in astrology, and Venus was in fact the mother of Cupid, born of her affair with Mars. The painting shows an idealisation of the feminine, reflecting how Venus in her birth chart describes the ideals we hold ourselves up to, say if we are a woman, or our ideal woman, say if we are a man. And Venus in our birth chart describes generally what we idealise. Venus in aspect with Neptune, for example, suggests a romantic idealism impossible to find in the real world. Venus with Uranus idealises independence, perhaps unconventional relationships or an attraction to quirky types. For Venus Pluto, the ideal is a deep, maybe obsessive love, of great heights but also of great depths. And here she is again being regarded and admired. How we give and receive love and appreciation is another key meaning of Venus in the birth chart. In fact, looking at these paintings is a Venusian act all in itself. For Plato, Venus had two aspects. An earthly goddess, arousing humans to physical love, mostly associated with Taurus, the sensual earth sign ruled by Venus, and a heavenly goddess who inspired intellectual love, associated with Libra, the intellectual air sign also ruled by Venus. This picture, painted in earthly colours, surrounds her with beauty. She's reclining lazily on a blanket and leaning on plump pillows. This is Taurian Venus, even down to her fuller figure. Music is being played for her, and Taurus is associated with the appreciation of music, and her view is of a manicured garden, the Taurian love of nature made beautiful, but no doubt costly to maintain. In this we see a reflection of astrological Venus's association with how we spend our money according to what we value, and Taurus finds value in security and material comforts, earthly luxuries. She's even petting a dog, and dogs are associated with loyalty, and Taurus is also associated with loyalty. But what of Libra and Venus? Well, there aren't any great paintings of her being intellectual, but other aspects of Libra and Venus are depicted. For example, Venus's marriage illustrates Libra's association with partnerships, negotiation and conciliation. This is the Venus who seeks peace and harmony through diplomacy and compromise. In the story, Aphrodite, Venus's equivalent in the Greek pantheon, was married off to Zeus by Hephaestus, the god of fire and metalworking, also known as Vulcan. Older than Aphrodite, and the ugliest of the gods, Zeus believed the marriage would quell the many fights caused by Aphrodite's extreme beauty. She wasn't happy with the arrangement, but went along with it to keep the peace. Very Libran. The compromise she made for herself, however, was to take Ares, the god of war, Mars in the Roman, as her lover. It was the classic love triangle. But because Libra is associated with justice, there was a public price to pay for her infidelity. Shown in this painting, you'll see that, hurt and angered by her infidelity, Hephaestus ensnared the lovers in a net and invited the other gods to witness their shame. But Hephaestus himself did not escape justice. Libra is nothing if not fair and balanced. Zeus scolded him for turning a private disagreement into a public scandal. Interestingly, after she was freed, Aphrodite went back to her birthplace and performed a ritual to restore her virginity, to redress her loss of reputation, to how she stood in public. Again, a very Libran thing, because the approval of others is important to Libra. However, this didn't stop her from going on to have many more love affairs. Aphrodite and Ares, Venus and Mars go arm in astrology too. The vital sexual warrior, warmongering male archetype, and the fertile, erotic, peace-loving, yielding, feminine archetype. This famous painting and famous story, The Judgment of Paris, also reflects Venus in Libra. Being liked, loved and appreciated is important to Venus, to those with Venus strong in their charts generally. But all things have their shadow side, and those who most strongly personify Venusian ideals are more likely to experience jealousy, possessiveness and obsession, either by having these feelings or maybe provoking them in others. This final story illustrates this point. It began when Eris, the goddess of discord, left off a guest list for a wedding, devised a plan to ruin the day. As the feast began, she rolled a golden apple into the gathering with a message that it be given to the fairest in the throng. This invoked jealous emotions, resulting in a squabble. But eventually a shortlist of Hera, Athena and Aphrodite was selected and taken to Troy, where Paris, the son of the king of Troy, was invited to pick the winner. Each goddess offered Paris a bribe. Hera promised to make him lord of Europe, Athena vowed victory in the war against Greece, but charming, intelligent Aphrodite promised him the most beautiful woman in the world. He didn't hesitate, he gave her the golden apple, off she whisked him to Helen. So, when he was with Helen, he stole Helen from her husband, which started a 10-year war, which led to the sack of Troy and the end of Troy. So, inadvertently, Aphrodite's desire to be appreciated as the fairest, the most beautiful, led to bloody war. But did she try to negotiate peace? No, she hot-footed it back to Olympus with her golden apple, with her prize, reflecting the Taurus shadow of over-attachment to material possessions and the unwillingness to leave one's comfort zone, and the Libra shadow of vanity, superficiality, and not wanting to get involved in anything as coarse as war and human fighting. And that's the end of our brief survey of Venus through art and how it relates to astrology. I hope you enjoyed this presentation in association with the Academy of Astrology. Please like the Facebook page and go to our website, and all the links are at the bottom of this. If you want to subscribe, we're going to be doing weekly videos, and we look forward to seeing you the next video, which will be coming up next week. Thank you.